And so what I thought we could do is just sort of open the floor for anything on anybody's mind. We've done this before. This is actually how the meetup started, where it was just like an open forum with questions and people chimed in. And hi, Keith. Haven't seen you in a couple months, I think. The only thing is, I would say that this requires a little bit of a little more participation from the people who are in the group here. So I am going to stop talking for a moment and would love to hear any challenges, questions, thoughts about what's going on at your company, in the industry, in education in general. And I always have things to add if nobody has something.
Hi, I just wanted a chance to introduce myself. This is the first time I've joined this meetup. So thank you for hosting and having me. My name's Erin, and I run content, comms, editorial at Clever, the EdTech company. And I have been part of a content marketing sort of institute, which has been really fun, but EdTech is so nuanced, so it's really nice to be in a group with folks who are sort of facing the same market challenges and whatnot. I'm full of ideas if anyone wants to chat. The thing that's top of mind for me right now is we are expanding from US to global reach, and that's a new professional and exciting challenge. Obviously, comes with a lot of market nuance, so that's one thing that's top of mind for me.
That's interesting. Can you talk a little bit more about which areas you're going into and kind of like what is Clever trying to accomplish? And first of all, welcome.
Thank
Uh,
you.
this meetup takes many different forms, and uh, this one was supposed to be like a featured speaker and then we would talk, which is what I think has been working the best most recently. But like I said, this is how this started, where it was an open forum. We used to go into breakout rooms. People kind of voted that they didn't prefer that. They preferred to stay in one room, which makes for a better recording to share with others later too. So anyway, welcome. And everybody on the call is in EdTech. So we're all in the same world you're in. So, but I would venture to guess that some smaller portion obviously has worked internationally, but I know lots of companies have done it in different ways. So if you could tell us a little bit more about what Clever's trying to accomplish, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah. We've saturated the US market, so I think we're looking for new markets. And honestly, our mission is to connect every student to a world of learning. So that very much kind of leads us into more markets. I think as far as the way I sit more of a brand perspective, so the way that our organization has grown up is like, EdTech co-founders, Y Combinator kind of had really big grassroots outreach to US schools. Dan Carroll is one of our co-founders and is like widely loved in the industry, and we're growing up from that. So reaching new markets, people don't know who Dan is. He's an advisor now. And so that's becoming like an entirely new sort of brand opportunity, which is very exciting for my role that I get to put together some brand forward campaigns. I think historically, because we've grown up with the US, folks go straight into product talk, straight into what are you solving for me? And in new markets, they're kind of like, who are you? And what are your values and what do you want from me? So sitting on a brand marketing team, it's a really exciting opportunity. The
Mhm.
way that we're approaching it strategically is I think the path to least resistance right now, which is English speaking or regions first.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering. Like, are you going to Australia?
Australia, UK, Canada, and then we are partners with Khan Academy, and they have a huge user base in Brazil. So we've already kind of ventured there just based on partnership.
Very cool. Well, I saw Ian join. For anybody who joined in the last 4 minutes or so, Kate got sick and was not able to come this morning. So we're just having an open forum. Um, Ian is an active participant I think he's on mute and his video is, oh wait, no, it says his video is on. I just don't see
Here.
it. Um, did you hear Aaron's intro about Australia and the whole bit?
Yes, I did. As somebody who's currently working for an Australian company that has a deep affinity for our Clever relationship, and we're trying to expand in the US. Hi, Aaron. Pleasure to connect. Let's talk.
Yes, let's talk. Absolutely. I sit on the
So,
marketing team, so I'm not
as
like,
do I.
oh,
So,
great. Oh,
I'm
wonderful.
responsible for, pardon my raspy Halloween voice. It's all in character, as everyone who knows me from this call can respect. I'm that committed. No, I'm working for 3P Learning on reading eggs and mathletics. So Sydney focused, Sydney headquartered company where we're expanding more in the US. I've also done similar outbound from US motions at Turnitin. So yeah, I can, uh, I mean, really and truly in terms of working across markets and dealing with multiple assumptions of wait, it doesn't work the same way here as it does in the place that I'm home. I have now lived it in multiple realities, so it's a fun conversation. And yeah, happy to chat and have a long conversation about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron, for jumping in. What else is on people's minds? It is conference season. So
I
that's
can
something.
share,
Mhm.
or I'm new. This is my first time here. I'm a new founder. I come from the educational field and fell in love with entrepreneurialism, so I get to combine the two. But my company's name is Light Blue Learning, and I'm trying to break into the market. It's a coming market for nervous system literacy. Um, and so I'm trying to figure out Facebook ads and how to get people to join up for the pilot. And so
Mhm.
that's just where I'm at. It's on the top of my mind. We've got a program that's been endorsed by Polyvagal Institute. Um, and
Question.
I don't know if anyone else has experience trying to do that.
We definitely do. Go ahead.
Yeah. When you say nervous system literacy, is like, what does that mean?
That means understanding how your body works um, in regards to behavior, learning, and relationships. And so when
So,
you have that deeper knowledge, you start to think about student behavior differently. You ask different questions, you start to approach it differently, you start to examine your own behavior differently. And what that does is it helps improve your well-being, which you know as a teacher needs, but it also helps to improve student regulation. And we know our kids are greatly dysregulated in schools, and the combined effect of that is really hard on a teacher's nervous system. So I'm trying to build that knowledge base um, to improve education.
so is that about teacher well-being, student well-being, both?
Both.
Okay. So, uh, you're in a room full of marketers where we love sorting things.
Mhm.
While, nervous system literacy, I think is just, I love that turn of phrase. Mentally, what that means for me is okay, so SEL and teacher retention. Got it.
Yep. Same.
All right.
What's your goal for the ads? Do you want teachers to sign up to use the program for free?
Yes, I want to start a pilot. Starting from what I've read, you start small and you get those early adopters and you prove success. So now that we got our content solid, I want to have teachers starting to use it. I've had some teachers use it in the past. We've refined it now, um, just to prove the experience.
At the teacher level, and it's going to start out being for free, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're running Facebook ads.
Yes, and I'm spending money learning about what's not working.
Yeah. This is a big topic, which I think
Okay.
is it's kind of quiet. I know it sounds like maybe a simple question, like how do I run Facebook ads to engage?
Right.
There's like, we would probably anybody on here is like wondering about how you're targeting and how have you figured, like, is there a particular segment of teachers that's more likely to engage, and what does your messaging look like? And are you sure that your messaging is actually resonating? And are you using the ads to test the messaging? Ads are Facebook ads. One of the things that I love the most about them is that you can get a pretty quick signal on like what resonates and what doesn't. So I think you just got a data point from Ian about calling it nervous system literacy. That was not particularly clear. So
Okay.
that's going to be a barrier, right? You want to relate to the verbiage that teachers are already using. So that might, like, testing the messaging might be a good place to start, less to see about how to get pilots, but more like what's going to click. And then I would also just say that meta ads are incredibly frustrating because there's always something buggy about the system, and then you
Okay.
don't know, like, did I choose? I mean, it's just like it never works, right? I think if you post in the community, not that the community has been all that active lately, but
Change that.
you might, I think we're all very busy is what I think is happening. It's, back to school season-ish. We're getting past it, but October is like, I think the busiest month for marketing and sales and stuff. But
That's
yeah,
where we make all the spreadsheets to be like, oh my God, what the hell just happened?
yeah. But yeah, post in the how to break through to teachers, and if anybody chimes in and yeah.
Yeah, are you?
Um,
Hi, can I chime in?
absolutely.
Hi, Stephanie. I'm Tanya. I've been in the startup space. I launched a school in 2018 and grew and marketed and built that school pretty much on my own, and have background in marketing and sales before that. Are you only using Facebook? Are you advertising in TikTok at all?
I'm using Google Ads too. I
Okay.
haven't explored TikTok. Do you mean advertising on TikTok?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
And I bring it up because something we tried last year, just looking at the demographics of where teachers are and where different age groups are. Gen X is still on Facebook. Everybody else is on TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ian. I'm still there too, but you're probably not looking for me. You want people who are teaching, who are in their first like 3 to 5 years of teaching. They're
Mhm.
starting to feel the burnout. They don't want to leave, but they need a solution. Like that's who it sounds like you're looking for. And those people they're on Instagram too. So your Facebook ads are going to reach those on Instagram. But we saw a big jump in our interest in people signing up for our tours. And I know I'm an adjacent
Mhm.
but different, right? But people signing up for tours and people showing interest and traffic to our website when we started advertising on TikTok. And I'm doing it really minimally, like the same ad budget that we have on Facebook, which I want to say is like $5 or $10 a day. Like we're
Mhm.
not dumping a ton of money into it. Um, but we've seen a big difference in people interacting with our brand and with our school from it. So just throwing that out there anecdotally is something that we've noticed. Um, yeah, and then I think kind of to Ian's point, like clearing up the messaging, and to
Okay.
Hallie's point, like the Facebook A/B test ads, looking at who's clicking on what, running a ad set and looking at it and figuring out which ones resonate. All of that's going to help you.
Okay.
Um, if if you haven't hired or looked at someone to help you build messaging, that might be something to look at too.
Yeah.
Or even using an AI scraper that can go through Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, TikTok, and figure out what are the words and things and messaging that teachers are using and what's resonating right now, and draw those in. Um, all
Okay.
of that might be places to kind of start as you're kind of throwing things at the wall to see what sticks.
Okay. Thank you.
To add on to that, I dropped a link to a conference called Learning in the Brain. And just in line with what everybody else was suggesting, like you could really dump a ton of money into those ads to figure out your messaging, figuring out what resonates, but how do you kind of get face-to-face conversations with your potential users and hearing how do you tailor your messaging so it resonates with what they already know, addresses the pain points that they're having, so that you kind of have like a pretty good sense of that, and then maybe you're testing out like 2 or 3 different variations as opposed to just upfront going right to the ads, and trying to figure it out that way. But I attended that conference forever ago, and I just looked it up now to see if it was still going. But I think that would be a good place where you can have those conversations, or even just, looking at their brochure, like what are the presentations
Okay.
about? Because the people like those presentations are the people who are kind of steeped in that, in the way that schools and educators are talking about the role of neuroscience in learning, and you can kind of pick up a lot of those phrases, and even like beg, borrow, and steal some of that messaging, and then test that out as it aligns with your product.
Thank you.
I was just going to post about this on LinkedIn, but again, I got busy, so it's just sitting there in like draft form. But first of all, love everybody's ideas. Totally, awesome. That's point of the meetup. I just went to the International Dyslexia Association conference last week, and for a brand new product, and we don't know exactly what's going to resonate messaging wise. We have done some message testing. It's in literacy, and I know the literacy world, so like I have some sense, but it's like the value that you get out of going to a conference and talking about your product and then getting like real-time feedback. Like the first group I went to was Decoding Dyslexia. It was parents. I told them that I was there for a randomized control trial, like proven solution, and like they were just kind of blank. Like this was not the thing to lead with parents, and I had not really like thought about it. It was like I just got there. And I was like, conferences for early stage companies are like invaluable for just that immediate, do their eyes peak or, light up when you talk about your product? Or are they just like, oh, I got a lot of like, oh, and then I just thought I gotta like iterate. That was not right either. That was not right either. That was not right either. So yeah, product market fit phase. I love it. So I love that idea of going to the conference, basically.
I was, Harley, were you at EdTech Week? I think there
No,
may have,
wasn't it?
You weren't? Okay. For some
No.
reason, I thought I saw you on the list. Was anybody else at EdTech Week last week in New York City?
Yeah, I was there.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw you walking by, and I was like, that guy kind of looks familiar, but I can't. So if you saw someone awkwardly staring at you, that might have been me.
I was getting like my experience on EdTech Week last week is, when did I become the guy at the conference who everybody seems to know and like getting stopped by people?
Yeah.
It was very weird for me. I suppose it was, a mark of professional accomplishment. I think something that's worth talking about in this specific room, and maybe this already came up and just was acknowledged 2 weeks ago, and it's certainly been a recurring theme, but we are now yet again in the United States in a state of federal paralysis, which trickles throughout the entire system and has made everybody very hesitant, no matter how perfect we have done our personas and how well segmented we have. And, we could have product market fit that fits like a 4-piece jigsaw puzzle where you just can't screw it up. And because there's just so much unpredictability, which is just, we can talk about the pros and cons of various policies, but unpredictability is just something that the public sector cannot stand. Like it's really, really hard out there. And I think that the the other piece in terms of recurring themes, 2 things that came up, building on what we were talking about with Teresa there. First and foremost is more than ever. And one of the interesting things about EdTech Week, it was so founder and funder focused. and a lot of assumptions, really just making sure you're connecting with your prospects and customers and like having classroom voice and educator voice. Like it's something that's not happening nearly to the degree it needs to in the startup space. And I think part of that may be we're still finding our feet post-pandemic, hangover. And then I think the other thing that was a recurring theme in pretty much every panel I sat in, Jeff, maybe you had this as well, was everybody was talking about just trust in relationships. I don't know exactly what the source of the stat was, but multiple panels cited the fact that on email as a channel, district leaders and school leaders are getting 300 to 400 emails per day. And so, we can talk about Facebook ads and whatnot, but we're in a budget crunch right now, and every single one of us out there, as much as we can come together in community, we're all competing for the same eyeballs as well. So I'll just shift away from my Facebook budget because Teresa's clearly going after that. And
Yeah, I think there was a theme where most of the kind of admin and educator-led panels were telling us all the ways that they didn't want us to reach out to them.
yes,
What did they say that they did want?
They didn't. That one, I'm still waiting on that. That was the question. I mean, basically, they're like, come up and talk to me after my presentation, right? So we kind of, which I did a lot after folks presented, went up and checked in and kind of asked them that question: what is the best way to connect? And it is like right now, like when you see me in person, right? And we've had a face-to-face conversation, and then you send me an email. I know who you are and I care. And then
yeah,
also, of course, like do your research before you, reach out to people, those types of things. But I think generally the message is everybody in the world is reaching out to us right now. And as budgets are shrinking, outreach is increasing, right? Because companies are trying to slow the decline. We're trying harder and harder to reach them. And I think there is a little bit of overwhelm and overload from our audience, the people that we do want to talk to, that everybody's trying to talk to them right now. So
On that note, sorry, did I just interrupt
No,
somebody?
go ahead.
My name is Ruth Samuelson. I run Gembox Studio. We do storytelling and design, essentially like communications projects, website, social media, social ads, for mostly schools. And yeah, I am now instituting. I'm assuming it's similar with district leaders and school leaders, but earlier I'd done a little bit more cold emailing, and now every time I am kind of in a good space in a client engagement, or that client engagement has come to an end, I'm just specifically sending people an email that's like, referrals are so essential. If you think that people who will appreciate the kind of service that I've offered you, and then I give them 3 ways to do that. But I think um, the real money maker and the real impact maker is internal listservs, like groups where people who have a certain job like this are sharing information and saying like, this person was worth my time, my effort, my money. They have the expertise. So yeah, it's hard kind of dumping a lot of time and effort into something and then acknowledging that it's just not doing anything anymore. But as somebody who also receives their fair share of emails that I just say spam to, I think it makes a lot of sense.
What I was going to say, thanks for that, Ruth. It was that
Yeah.
some of it still works. And so it's like, where's the happy medium in there? And I definitely don't have the answer for that. But like administrators do still pick up the phone. SDR calling does still lead to booked calls with admins. Emails still do get through, not anywhere near as much as they used to. So it's probably like we all just need to be doing all of it all of the time.
I think
yeah.
nobody.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I'll say like nobody knows how they like to be marketed to or sold to,
Yeah.
right? Like they
Yeah.
know what they like and what they don't like. So you need to have those conversations about the product, but you can't ask them how to connect with them, because we all resonate with, like, everybody says, oh, I'm immune to ads, yet people still buy things because of ads. So I think that's where there's that fine line where, like, you have to figure out what they really like, what are their pain points and what are their goals by talking to them. But like, they're just going to tell you, don't sell to me. I buy things when I want them. But nobody actually operates like that in reality.
Okay. Yep.
To
Agreed.
build
Yeah,
on what
I think that's kind of the key thing though, is like everybody likes to feel like they have their own, like they're in control, it's their own decision making. And so I think being in those spaces where it's like you might not be the most in control, but like your name is circulating via somebody else who's not you is really helpful. And then, for me and my business is slightly different, but because it's more like B2B, well, I guess EdTech can be like that too, but it's different. I'm doing a lot of LinkedIn and I'm doing, helpful newsletter content that feels like I am giving away free information. And that's how I'm circulating my name. But I don't know, yeah, I really worry that any sort of cold approach it's just so much time and effort for so little reward for my business at this point.
There's one strategy just to build on that, Ruth, that I've heard for a warmer approach is when you do on-site visits, having their neighbors also join and kind of do like a co-presentation of what that school or customer or client is. It's almost like an EBR with an audience kind of thing. Which is like, again, so much more warmer, but it's a really interesting way to like, I feel like school leaders do like this idea of like position me as like a successful person in the industry right now. Like that feels very like the receptive sort of in. And so when you ask them to invite their neighbors to their presentation on like an EBR or whatever it is, they're almost like, yeah, like, yeah, hype me up like that. And as much as like neighbor, I feel that I personally think that like the neighbor referrals, like every client is so uniquely different. And I almost feel like that's not gonna be like an apples to apples pitch, but having the trust and like the established trust and like new prospects seeing that trust with the customer and the provider seems to be a creative way in.
I love the point, Erin, about having other schools join. Like, I've seen it work, for like official demos or like school, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like where you're featuring a case study at a school where it's like a bigger deal. But just a simple conversation, I had actually never thought of that. Like, hey, you got another principal around down the street who has the same problem, or I love that.
Yeah, I've never been in the room, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's so simple and probably so effective.
Time consuming and expensive, and we're all in the business of driving down CAC. So
I know.
that's and there's that. No, it's like, I think my observation right now is as we struggle through this, like, because personal relationships and trust, it's not a seller's market. It's, to the extent it is, like, it's entirely up to the buyers, and it's a budget constrained market, and it's a perception constrained market. And so what's being most successful for me this year, and I know we've talked about this before on calls like this, it's a matchmaking event. So RTM, IEI, Allison had a lovely time at the Tech and Learning Exec Summit, where anybody who has the established relationship and is, serving as a filter. And, this is a challenging thing because, like, especially for startups, if you have 25 grand to drop on one of these things, great, you have a fighting chance to get in front of some people. If you don't have that kind of free cash, tough. Like, but you know, uh, uh, I mean, I talked with Matthew Milstein yesterday. Jacob Cantor and I go back and forth. Same with Brett Rohr. So like, it's a good time. It's a good time to be in this sort of middleman broker role, because if you literally have to put it in, uh, Tanya will bond with me, and then when they are in the Rolodex, um, uh, you know, it's who can get somebody on the phone when they make a call, and that's worth money right now.
I guess just on the RTM IEI, RDI front, I know this completely depends on the product
Yeah.
and the company and all that good stuff, but what do you think the breaking point is on how many times you try it? Because I feel like smaller companies will say, we just want to try it, and it's like 10K, and that's a lot for a small company.
Yeah.
But we all know that it usually takes more than one time. You might get lucky the first time, but I smaller companies have not tried them more than once, I wouldn't say.
No.
And you're like, I don't know, maybe you cut that off too soon. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Allison, I see you smiling.
Yeah, it's definitely not one and done. I think, each event's a little different. ERDI, I've been a few times. That one, you got to keep coming back. They are, that's definitely not a one. That's more like a 5, like Ian was saying. RTM, they claim that deals are done in that room and that you can get your ROI on one deal, which you can, but it's $25,000 to $38,000 per event. And they have 16 of them a year. So, yeah, you can in theory, but it's tricky. And then there's all the other ones, the IEIs, Learning Council, DA, they're all expensive. And I do think you need to show up regularly. But then again, on the other side, all the big conferences, all the ISTEs and all of that, I mean, the ROI on that is just, could be nothing potentially. So I like the networking events. I call them the pay to play events over the big conferences if you're willing to invest for a year or two.
Yeah.
But it's so out of reach for so many companies. I did hear that ERDI is coming out with a new pricing model so they can be more inclusive, but I haven't seen it yet.
I think RTM's pretty aggressive. I feel like in their contracting and selling, and I think have tried like, well, you can only go to one day and we'll give you, access to a half days, which is good. I mean, I think they have to adjust to what's going on in the market. So that's good to see.
Yeah, I did hear though that, and this is just hearsay, but RTM is a weird model in that the attendees, the district leaders are paid to be there too.
Right.
Which is really interesting to me. That's such a conflict of interest on so many levels. So I don't know. Everyone I know who's done RTM has had a good experience, but you pay out the nose for it.
Yeah.
And you have to match to your audience. So like,
right.
I won't call out a particular company that I worked with, but they spent money, but it wasn't quite the right, it just wasn't quite the right audience. And so it was sort of like round peg, square hole in an environment that probably would work otherwise. So.
Right.
I
They
think
get to
also
pick
it's
who
always
they talk to. They get to pick the product. They get to pick the product they're interested in. So if your product's something completely abstract or something they don't want or need, you may not get picked.
I think it always comes down also to like, could you get that same experience, those same connections through something else?
Yeah.
And it's like,
I had worked with a company that had done a few of those ERDI and RTM, and they hadn't converted any of the deals. And so they had asked me to look over, like, let's look at this. Why are we not converting these? How can we convert them? And I'm watching the videos, and it's like the company side is figuring out how to sell the product, and then the admin side is giving them feedback on how the product could be improved. And I was like, what are they being told before the sesh? Right. I was like, there seems like the people, both sides came to the meeting with different expectations. One was like, this is an opportunity to sell. The other was, this is an opportunity to provide feedback on an early product. And they were trying to convert that into sales, but the folks were not coming in with as much of a sales mindset. And I think part of that pay, like being the fact that they're paid to attend those sessions does create a little bit of that tension there that can be tricky to overcome.
That's interesting. There probably is, Catherine, for higher ed. Oh, they do RTMs for like,
I think there is an RTM higher ed.
yeah, they
Like
cross industries.
Yeah, there are a
There-
few different.
RTM specifically. I don't think ERDI or IDI do it, and I mean, yeah, I mean, tech and learning does a little bit in higher ed space. I've been talking with other Allison Knapp all week, where I'm like, no, we're not gonna go to New York City. So, but yeah, I think RTM has its own thing. Let me look into that.
I think I might be in the odd bucket of like early startup where I definitely the price point you guys are saying for RTM is way above our budget, but we're also so early that we would be happy to like pilot with schools and stuff like that. It's just hard to get schools getting a two-way communication. The network of higher ed is slightly different than K through 12, which I'm aware, but it's rough out here.
Whatever it's worth. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Catherine.
That's yeah, no, you're good. Go ahead.
For whatever it's worth to people on this call. So, me being, I was on the host committee for EdTech Week. So I had Ash's ear and was also talking with Jen Womble at the FETC, where amongst the point I made for the startup space is they have, there's numerous Shark Tank style events matching founders and funders. One of the points that I made on this one to them is if trust in relationships, Jeff backed me up here, was something that was pretty much in every panel. Another thing that everybody kept mentioning was, pilots and social proof. And my point to the two of them is if you're going to do Shark Tanks for startups to match up with money, like do a Shark Tank that matches them up with teachers where you can get people to pledge time to try the product.
Yeah,
Because
that's a great idea.
like case studies and getting anybody to participate in, extracting a testimonial, extracting nice things said about you on social media. Megan's face just captures it all. Like we just need a gif of that. Megan captured it all. I'm just, even for those of us with resources and a brand behind us, like getting people to post a nice thing on social media, hard. Getting people to like record or, testimonial and sign the media release so that we can use it, hard. Full-blown case study, hard. Like actual research, expensive and hard. And so there has to be some intermediary here if startups are going to have any fighting chance for the accelerators of the world to tell the funders they're getting into this, that these startups are going to have a chance of recouping it, especially if it's so case study and testimonial dependent. So I made some noise about that one because I'm good at making noise, unless I have laryngitis.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everybody would be into that, right? Like the companies
Yeah.
would love to be able to have the opportunity to pitch for teachers, teachers that are attending that event, like on that like the day one that was teacher day,
Yeah.
would probably like to have more meaningful interactions than simply the expo floor. So I think that would be a huge hit.
That was the entire attempt. So like I was the one who sponsored Bonnie Nieves and Marissa Sadler Holder's session at the end.
Oh, nice.
And the ones who actually made it for that, end of day Wednesday session were like, we need more of this. So
Yeah.
yeah, Deborah's on my list. So like, but I was standing there with Ash and Ash gave me a free ticket. So I started with them.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea. Coming from the education world, I know there are teachers out there who love to try new things. They want to be the first ones to pilot it, and they're always looking for things, and so matching them to a company to get them to try it, I think that's just a really good idea.
Another idea, like for really early stage, because I founded an ed tech company that I ran for 5 years, and now I do consulting. But for really early stage, I always like the throw your own conference idea, which is like find somebody in your local area, get a get a bar, get a restaurant, put up a projector, and just buy everybody some drinks, buy them a meal, and in exchange they come and you show your pitch to them. I mean, it's just incredibly cost effective, and while the scale is smaller than a conference, those are going to be, if you get 20 people in that room, those are 20 meaningful connections that you've actually had conversations with, and the ones who show up will probably be those early adopters that will kind of take it back and talk to, whether it's other teachers, whether it's a principal that comes and they talk to the people in their building, whether if you can get a director of curriculum instruction, something like that. Just really, in this internet age of everything being so digital, it is, I think, still all businesses start local, and the more you can leverage, like walk down the street to your local school building and see who there will try it out. You kind of get those hot spots and get a little momentum there, and then it's a little easier to branch out with the less personal means.
I just wanted
That, yeah, that's a fantastic idea, Jeff. Thank you.
There's also a lot of like niche conferences that I haven't heard of RTM personally,
Yeah.
but like we provide curriculum for music education, health education, PE. So we're at like Shapes and MEAs and ASCAs for school counselors. So you could also look into more of those like niche ones. I'm specifically thinking of the nervous system literacy one. You might consider targeting school counselors because that could be kind of they could funnel it out to the classroom teachers potentially.
Okay, I have a question about this. So totally agree on the niche conferences, and they get like they niche down to like, a few districts in a county office of education kind of thing. Is there, maybe AI is like the solution for this, but is there like an easy way to find those small opportunities for networking? Has anybody found that? Because I only ever learn about them when I'm at a smaller conference and then somebody's like, oh yeah, all the area superintendents get together every third Friday of whatever, and then you're like, what? How could I have known about that? Like Riverside County or something, or somebody said something.
Yeah. But asking the people, like, I mean, the way that I've found about the best conference, ask the person who you want to, right? Like you have a client, they're your perfect client. Ask them what are their favorite conferences, and then go to those three, and that's where you're going to find more people like them,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would even like on the conference realm, I would even suggest like if actually paying for the conference is too much, showing up and finding a way to get a list of attendees or targeting people that you know are going to be there and hold a meetup outside the conference. That's one of the things I know ASU GSV is huge, and everybody's there, but that's one of the things I've done is gone when I don't even have a ticket, just to go to the meetups and the happy hours and hang out in the courtyard because everybody's there. And I've done that at other conferences, and we've talked about doing it like at PBL World. Like all of the innovative project-based teachers that are learning how to do this are there. So, hold a wine tasting outside of the conference and invite people to that so that you're there and they see you and your target people are all there, but maybe you don't need all of the content information that's in the conference. Or maybe like attending the conference is outside of the budget, but you want to connect with the people. Yeah, like Ian is saying, exhibiting is an investment, attending is a different discussion. And I'm going a step beyond that and saying maybe you don't even attend, you just show up and meet people outside of it and like stalk everybody or invite them to an event that's outside of it, have lunch with people, like just be where they are.
ESD free Expo floor badge for the win.
I was just going to make a little anecdote before about asking teachers. So one time I made the mistake of posting on Reddit. I don't know if you guys swim in the Reddit polls, but it's not friendly. Okay. And I knew that. I knew that, but I don't know. I was being naive. So I went into like an educator market and I was like, would you guys want to get paid to give feedback on a product? And they ripped me to shreds. And like, we don't want to be supporting like anything that was for profit and I was like, you know what? I should have known. This is Reddit. And Reddit is mean.
I was just gonna bring that up because I heard someone who created a Reddit community
Yeah.
and experienced a lot of success, but I
Yeah.
don't think teachers are going there for solutions. It's a really negative place.
But the use case for Reddit would be that GEO is using it big time, like any AI platform is stripping content from Reddit like crazy. So if you have good word of mouth on Reddit, that's going to pop up when teachers are searching you with AI platforms.
There was just a headline that they stopped pulling from Reddit.
Oh,
So
did they really? I haven't seen that yet.
I know.
I
Reddit
heard
shut it
I heard
down.
the same thing. I
Last
heard the
week.
same thing.
Yeah.
Good.
But I don't know, like, what does that mean historically? I don't know. You know, it's like this is,
It's still, I'm sure there's still training from it.
that's what I was gonna say. There's got to be. But
Yeah.
And there, I will say, okay, now that I just said that, like everybody was so mean on Reddit, it is still a gold mine for what teachers are talking about, and there are principles like it's not a place where you like insert yourself into the conversation, but if
Yeah.
you want to see the verbiage people are using and things like that, it's still super valuable. Great reminder for like day to day what's happening in classrooms where you're like, oh, never would have thought about that, you know, when you see the
And
conversation.
you can see like what people are complaining about your product and then address it. We've done a lot of that where we're like, oh, this is a huge misconception. Now we need to run a campaign that addresses that misconception about our product.
That's interesting. Well, this has been a lovely conversation. Despite our change in plans, I think we can wrap up. We are not a very festive group. I don't think that anybody here is in a costume, to my knowledge. But thank you all for coming. We'll have Kate come back maybe the first session in January. Yes, Heather.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to introduce myself at the beginning, so I thought I would say hi. So my name is Heather Shellstead. I feel like I've been lurking in this community for a while, but was slow to engage in the monthly check-in. So my name is Heather. I've been in EdTech marketing for over 2 decades, both in higher ed and K-12. So that kind of run the gamut from some of the big companies like McGraw-Hill, Pearson, and Cengage, and then earlier in growth stage startups, including Newton, Nearpod, and then left Nearpod about 3 years after the Renaissance acquisition. I've been doing freelance consulting work for the most part, but I'm super happy to be here. I think Hallie is awesome for starting this community. I'm looking around the room and I know this is a smaller meeting than maybe we've had in the past, but I'm seeing so many names that I recognize and I'm quickly going into LinkedIn saying, oh my gosh, am I connected with this person? Am I connected with that person? So anyway, I'm happy to be here and I'm excited to engage more in the future. And there were definitely some themes, right? So Erin, I was not on camera or engaging when you were asking questions about expanding internationally, but definitely had some experience with that as well, especially while I was at Nearpod. And yeah, so happy to engage on all sorts of things. And I'm on LinkedIn and I'm happy to be here. So thank you. Thanks, Hallie.
Thanks, Heather. I got like unsolicited. 2 people were like, "Do you guys know Heather Shellstead?" Or do you know? I will say that if anyone wants to present on a particular topic for this community, let me know because everything's fair game as long as it's related to EdTech. And I really feel like the session, this one was very good, but I really enjoy when someone comes and sort of like brings their particular expertise. Yes, Catherine.
I'll just do the same thing as Heather because I missed the introduction and I've also been lurking. This is the first time that I've been able to catch these meetings, but I read the posts and I do see common names. I historically have primarily taught in the high school space, but operations right now for an EdTech startup that is niche. It's for medical school students learning anatomy. And so, my job is everything in a startup, but we're really just looking to pilot the program with universities. So I joined this from a recommendation. I know you guys mostly talk about K through 12, but I know in my heart some of it is going to translate. So I'm here and I lurk a lot, but I would love to connect on LinkedIn as well.
What is the name of the company? I remember your intro, I think.
Yeah. So the company is Milo's Academy. That's the umbrella, and then the platform that we designed is Anatomy Land. So it's a product specifically for that course, which is one of the highest, has one of the highest attrition rates in college. Students fail out of anatomy classes anywhere, depending on the school, from 40 to 60% the first time they take it. So it's highly a retake class. And so our platform specifically to help them learn it quicker and for long-term use. And then our questions and the simulations that we have in our platform help students for the exams for medical school. So
Nice.
it's great. When I talk to doctors, they love it. When I talk to professors, they love it, but I can't get in front of purchasing people. Yeah.
Did you attend or go to EDUCAUSE this week?
So we've been trying to catch conferences when we can. When I caught the round for this past summer into this fall, it was horrifying. I missed so many deadlines. So I'm back on it, catching the ones for next summer and next fall. But repeat that name, James.
EDUCAUSE. It was just in Nashville this past week, called EDUCAUSE, and it's.
I am in Nashville, James. You're breaking my heart.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And it's a lot of the tech orientation and tech people, but it's also leadership and a whole lot of things. I would say it's probably the biggest event for higher ed just in general. But, ding me on LinkedIn, give you thoughts and ideas on higher ed. And
Thank you so much. I a two-way conversation would just be so lovely at this point. Instead of cold calling. Thank you, James. I have EDUCAUSE on my post-it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was just at the Music City Center. Came back late Wednesday night. And it was kind of rocking. It was pretty good.
I'm gonna go cry.
Don't do
That's
that.
horrific. But I'm gunning it for next summer for sure. For other conferences, and now I have EDUCAUSE on my post-it. Thank you so much, and
You're
thank
welcome.
you guys.
All right, well, let's scratch I'm gonna go cry at the end of our last marketing meetup. We're all in this together. I always give usually anyway, a little pep talk. That's why we come together. It's hard for all of us. There's no low-hanging fruit. That's why I started this. I don't know everything. I want to learn from you guys. We'll just continue to do that in the community and in the meetups next year. And again, thanks for coming and participating.